When you think Toyota, of course you're thinking hybrid powertrains, and rightfully so. They've been very successful with that over the years. But lately they've also been pushing their full EV battery electric vehicles. And that is an interesting proposition because they are sort of late to the party, but doing things properly and full force nowadays. My name is Peter, this is an Autoke Fuel video, and we have already reviewed the bZ4X in regular form a few months ago, but here is the bZ4X Touring. And you think, oh, that's just slightly bigger, which is partly true, but Toyota really positions this as a different vehicle for a different audience, more lifestyle orientated, so much more space, families with active children. That kind of target group is Toyota aiming at. So today we are in beautiful Slovenia to get to know this bZ4X Touring and see what's what. A little outside tour of the car, of course, starts here at the front with a familiar design. If you've seen the videos of the bZ4X regular and also the recent CHR Plus, this is the hammerhead design language that Toyota is having at the moment. And on the one hand, that's a little bit boring, but on the other hand, it is a clear family line, so I quite like that. And I also like that it's a bit more of an angular design, unlike the Xpengs and Teslas of this world that have all gone through the same wind tunnel. So it's a bit more edgy, if you want to call it that way, a bit more cyberpunk maybe even. Let me know in the comments how you guys feel about it. If we walk to the side though, you can see that familiar profile of the elongated shape of a station wagon. It's a bit higher up. They named the ID.7, for example, as a potential competitor, but that is a lot lower and a bit sleeker. This is supposed to be a bit more rugged and also a bit more capable off-road, for example. Then there's a few interesting things to note, where the regular bZ4X started off with this matte plastic around the wheel arches, then went to a more shiny version in the facelift that we did for a more classy look. This one deliberately went back to the matte one because they say this is a vehicle that you'll use and abuse, so to speak. So if you take this into a forest or something, or some kind of trail, you're going to get scratches on your shiny plastic, and they want to give this a bit more of a rugged capability, so that's fair enough. I think in general it looks pretty good. They call it an SUV. I'm not sure if you call this a raised station wagon or sleek SUV or whatever, but it does look good here on the side profile. It's a big car, 4.82 m long, but it looks and it feels big and capable, so that is quite nice. And you can see it in little things like these permanent roof rails, for example. That's solid stuff. That's quite nice. I like the chunkiness that this car has from the word go. Now, obviously, you're going to get this one over the regular one for this rear bit, the tail. This is, of course, the station wagon shape, and this here is, of course, why you want this form factor. Because of the boot space. Look at that enormous cavity. Open this up. Wow, you can really see where this car starts to shine. The space is pretty incredible. It really is so much space, which is of course the reason that you get this car in this shape. Almost 700 liters like this with the seats up, 1700 liters when you put the seats down in the back. So that means washing machines, Christmas trees, your uncle, 3 baby strollers, no problem whatsoever. So if you are an active lifestyler and you need to transport your surfboard and mountain bike, no problem at all. Interesting to note is that there is no 7-seat option available. It's always a 5-seater. Toyota has looked at it and they said no, the height is not sufficient enough to make this a full 7-seat option. There is, of course, the shape of the car in general to take into consideration. It's still a station wagon shape, that elongated, stretched shape. And they said, yeah, we just missed the height for a full 3rd row. Fair enough. So obviously I can take this car on the highway and tell you how many kilowatt hours per mile we're doing and how exciting that all is, but I'll save that for the full review when I drive this car at home in a couple of weeks. For now, we are in Slovenia and Toyota has found a few more, let's say, challenging driving environments for us, because this car is in the end aimed at active lifestylers that do this kind of thing. So they say, go crazy and drive these gravel roads. So we are up in the mountains at the moment. It's quite steep back there and it's completely, you know, loose surface, gravel, stones and everything. And we're going to see what this car is made of. Well, first of all, it's fast. With 380 horsepower, this is clearly no slouch. Not that that's really relevant here in the mountains in these kind of driving conditions, but we do have a lot of torque and we do have permanent four-wheel drive, permanent electric four-wheel drive, I have to say, which makes the car super agile. Obviously, it's not a Land Cruiser because that's Toyota's true off-roader, but the people here at Toyota are pretty confident that this car can basically go toe-to-toe with a Land Cruiser in most circumstances, and only in the most extreme and demanding driving conditions the Land Cruiser will outshine this car. But you can totally imagine that, you know, you drive this up a mountain with your mountain bikes in the back and your kids in the back seat listening to their podcasts. without much of an issue. And I have to say that I sort of agree with them. From what I've seen today so far, it's super capable. I mean, these roads are challenging, I'd say. There's, you know, lots of loose gravel, lots of stones, lots of dips and crests, and probably a bit different when it has rained here or snowed here for a couple of days, but it's not the case now, and I can only test what we're doing, right? And so far, the car has felt pretty comfortable all around. No circumstances really so far where the car has been like completely out of its element or anything. And it's easy too, because off that permanent four-wheel drive, the car sorts it out for you. Where does the torque need to go? Front, back, left, right. And there's no diff locks. There's nothing I have to mess with or do with or think about. I can just drive, turn the steering wheel and go. And that is impressive, I have to say, for a vehicle that also, you know, works on the road, works with your caravan, works with your boat, and works with your whole family in the back. So that is actually quite nice. And I think the whole, you know, you have to always poke through the whole marketing language a little bit when they talk about active lifestylers and family wagon and all that kind of stuff. Yes, it's true. But when you drive roads like this, it becomes a bit more tangible. And you're like, I can see how that might work, how that slightly more rugged exterior works in these circumstances, how the space and the clearance underneath make sense in circumstances like this. And if you are one of those active lifestylers, you know, with your mountain bikes in the back and on your way to, oh, this is quite the dip, and on your way to some kind of cabin up a mountain here in Slovenia, for example, why not? And if a car like this can do most of the things without any of the downsides of a Land Cruiser, I think that is quite the feat that Toyota has pulled off here. With 4.82 meters, this is of course a very long vehicle, which should suggest that there is plenty of space here in the rear. And I can report that the bZ4X Touring does not disappoint. There's so much space back here, it's vast almost. With 1.83 meters and 100 kilos, I'm sitting behind myself, and the space to the front seat is this much, so that is excellent. And even if that's not enough, the rear of the seats is soft, so it is comfortable to sit behind the driver. But at no point are you going to feel shortchanged for space here, because it's so roomy, there's so much room to breathe. It is really, really nice. Even with this darkish interior, it's nice that it's broken up with the sort of brownish panels, but there's so much light coming from the front and through the panoramic roof that at no point it feels claustrophobic back here. Also not for children, even though they sit a lot lower, obviously. The quality back here is good too. All the materials are the same as in the front. Everything feels nice to the touch. Everything feels soft where you want it to feel soft. And everything is as it should be. Big bins for your drinks. Window controls, we have some in this executive line, we have some vent controls, heated seats and 2 USBs for charging. So yeah, everything you want is back here. Even as children, the view out is also great. The seats are not very massive and also not very high. There's still quite a lot of space between the seat and the roof. So it's easy to see through the car, see what's happening in the front and see what's going on around you. So that is really, really nice. And I think all around, the promise that Toyota makes with this car, that it's for an active lifestyle family orientated audience, because children back here on a long journey, no problem. If you want to put the seats down and put bigger items in here, also fine. It is really, really all very complete. You could transport a third person back here because it is a full seat with a headrest, as you can see, and even somebody my size can sit here and not even touch the roof with my head. If I sit in the normal seats, I have about 2 fingers left. Here it's 1 finger maybe. But I can sit here for a short journey, no problem. And even the fact that the middle tunnel protrudes a little bit backwards, they've made it sloped or at a diagonal angle, so I can still move my foot around the whole width of the car without bending it out of shape. So that is fantastic too. And really testament to the space there is back here. The car also feels wide, so even somebody, you know, my width can sit here comfortably and feel, you know, not squished in at all. So it's great. There's nothing really to complain about back here. Plenty of light, plenty of air, plenty of space, everything you really want from a vehicle like this. All right, we changed from the all-wheel drive executive model to the dynamic one, which is the front-wheel drive basic version, basically, to have a little bit of a feel how this car actually handles on a normal road and normal streets. Because obviously driving it up a hill is great fun, but not really something you do that often in real life. So it's nice to try this out on these press events where we have the opportunity to drive several versions in one day. And I have to say, first impressions of this front-wheel drive version are actually quite good. It's a generally very capable platform to drive around in. It's, it's big, it's long, it's heavy, so that gives you great confidence on the road already. And obviously the step back in horsepower also dials back sort of the sharp edges of a car quite a lot. We go down from 380 to 227, so it's quite the step down. Because effectively it is the same powertrain in the front as in the rear in the all-wheel drive version. And for this front-wheel drive version only, they've just removed the rear powertrain. So if you add it all up, technically the all-wheel drive version should have more horsepower, but you can't, the calculation methods don't allow that for, to be a full 1 + 1. So 227 in this version just on the front wheels, which makes for a lot more sort of relaxed driving experience, because obviously with almost 400 horsepower on tap, it can become a bit jerky if you don't watch out. Here, that's not the case at all. 227 is actually a very nice amount of horsepower for this kind of vehicle, because don't forget, it's still big and heavy with almost 2 tons in weight, and that's without me and my co-driver in it. And if you put, some gear, some children, and some holiday equipment in the back, then obviously it gets heavy in a hurry. And 227 is nice. It still allows you to drive relatively quickly if you want to. It allows you to respond to traffic situations. It allows you to merge and overtake as you see fit, without too much of a drama and without too much of thinking. So that's great. And that actually gives this car a lot of confidence in terms of how you handle it through, like now, a small village maybe, and everything from here towards a full highway drive. While we are driving a few nice and twisty roads here through the forest, I think it's also good to note about the drivetrain and the battery. 74.7 kilowatt hours in all versions, so it's the same battery pack all round. That gives you just under 600 kilometers of range in this front-wheel drive version, because it only has one motor. The all-wheel drive obviously has double the motor capacity, so uses more electricity, but still well over 500 kilometers of range, which is nice as the road gets a bit choppy here. Talking about charging, we're looking at 11 kilowatts for this one and the regular all-wheel drive. 22 kilowatt hours of charging at home if you have the capability and infrastructure with the executive all-wheel drive version, so it's a bit faster. Fast charging, all of them 150 kilowatts. Now that doesn't sound like much on paper, which is true, and it's the same for the regular bZ4X and as well for the CHR Plus. But Toyota claims that the charging curve stays really high, really long. So you can, once you hit that 150, you can stay there for a long period of time. Where on other cars they might have a higher peak speed, but that peak speed drops off really quickly if the conditions are not optimal and if you reach a certain battery percentage. And Toyota has tested this in all kinds of temperatures, so they showed us all kinds of graphs yesterday, where they say, yeah, it doesn't really matter which circumstances you have, you can always reach that 150. So you can argue both ways, saying that it's too slow. On the one hand, it should be pushed more towards 200, which I think it should, because Toyota is not setting any records here in any way, shape or form. But that said, 150 is a reliable number that you can always hit. So that is also something to admire. And if you want to go on further trips with this car, it's a non-issue, because you have a lot of fundamental range to start with already, and then you're going to have to stop at some point anyway after 600 kilometers of driving, because your kids are going to have to pee, and then you can reliably charge at that 150 for 20 minutes, and then you're good to go again. So as far as that goes, not too bad. So that's great, and I think that's exactly what you want from a lifestyle vehicle like this, that allows you to drive in basically any circumstance. Now, I mentioned the lifestyle thing on purpose because Toyota positions this clearly above the regular bZ4X as a more premium option with more space, more capabilities, more lifestyle for you and your family. And I think that's an interesting positioning, because it sounds like a lot of marketing blah blah, but as you saw earlier in the off-road bit on the mountain, it does actually get backed up by what the vehicle is capable of. So that's really nice. That's one thing that's really important to mention, that it's not all just words and nice brochures, it's actually capability of the vehicle. Second of all, I think if you walk into a Toyota showroom and you see the regular bZ4 and this one, and then it's an immediate match or not. I think if this is the kind of vehicle that you want and need for your family, your lifestyle, whatever it might be, then I think you'll instantly look at this and think, yes, that is for me. And if it's not, then you look at the regular bZ4X and go, nope, that is the one that I want and need. And then there's the CHR Plus, which is a smaller version with even less capabilities, but still nice and roomy, same kind of design, same kind of cockpit and everything. So there's something to choose there for everybody. So obviously you want to know how much all of this is going to cost you and your lifestyle family. Luckily Toyota keeps it simple with just 3 versions, depending if you want 4-wheel drive or not and how much trim you want. So these are the prices for the Netherlands. All versions have the same 74.7 kilowatt hour battery. But we kick off with the Dynamic for 49,000 euros. And that is also the one that will give you the most range. 591 WLTP kilometers with a 227 horsepower front-wheel drive powertrain. Then there's the 2 all-wheel drive versions. First of all, the Dynamic for 53,000 euros. That will give you 528 kilometers, so that's quite a chunk less. But you do get 380 horsepower and permanent all-wheel drive. If that's not crazy enough for you, you can get the Executive all-wheel drive that has all the toys, all the bells and whistles for 58,000 euros. And you get the same 380 horsepower powertrain, but you only get 520 WLTP kilometers. Interestingly, Toyota, in the Netherlands at least, expects a 40-20-40 split. So they say most people either go for the regular standard version with front-wheel drive or for the all bells and whistles all-wheel drive version, and only a small group will take the middle option. So I think it's quite nice that Toyota positions this as a sort of a ladder where you have something to pick and choose for every target group and every need that you might have from an electric vehicle from Toyota. And there's a lot of continuation from those models as well. The design on the outside we saw already. In here it's basically the same layout and dashboard and everything as well. So we have the driver's display far ahead on the dash. We have the big infotainment system in the middle with the bottom third of the whole screen permanently displaying climate controls with the physical dials, the physical volume knob. So, you know, it's very much a continuation of those cars in this one as well. But with that extra ruggedness on the outside, the roof rails, the extra space in the boot. So yeah, very specific and building on that design platform. And I think that's nice and it's well done by Toyota. And of course we shouldn't forget that this is a Toyota. So you do get the 10 years of warranty. You do get, I believe, 200,000 kilometers of warranty. You do get the reliability, the fact that it's buttons here everywhere, ergonomic design, pleasant place to be. All those things all together make this a really strong package as a Toyota as well. So that's, yeah, it's a good proposition, this car. As we drive it up some hairpins, even with only front-wheel drive, no problem. It's very capable and it's nice. It gives you confidence to actually go out and explore and have that as an adventure vehicle, as Toyota calls it. And it's nice that it can do all these things, and it makes you, you know, happy to own and drive this car. So it's been quite a joy to drive this car around here for a day. And of course we're going to get this car in for regular testing at home to see how it performs in underground parking structures with a bunch of children in the back. But that's for a later point in time. For now, it was fun to give this car a proper test and shakedown here today at this media event. Hope you guys liked it. Give it a thumbs up if that's the case. Let us know how you feel about this one, if you would pick it over the regular bZ4X, despite the price difference. Is it worth it? And of course, if you want to see that extended review when I test it at home, sub to the channel is always appreciated. Then you won't miss that video. For now, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers!